Hi, everybody. I find it great when they thank us for coming here for foreign countries. I come from Ireland, and I flew in yesterday, and I'm delighted to be here because it's sunny here. I actually didn't see any rain at all, which is actually quite delightful for me. My name is Owen Hughes, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Couchbase, which is a document database company. And when I say document, I don't mean Word documents, I actually mean JSON documents. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, what we do, why we do it, who uses us, and what people use us for. But later on, David Ostrovsky, who's a local boy, he's going to do a talk on building distributed systems with Couchbase. Okay, so try and attend that talk if you can. So a lot of people have been talking about NoSQL adoption and what's driving it, but really several things that we all know about. There was a time when data and information and people interacting with that information resided within the walls of your business. And then Google came along, Facebook came along, eBay came along, PayPal came along and changed all of that. What happened was you had multiple people at web scale accessing your business. But even inside banks, instead of going to the branch, as somebody said, Lloyds have laid off 9,000 people. You don't go to your branch anymore. People check their bank balance online. People check on their mobile phone to see if their paycheck is hit so they can go to the pub, have a party. Another thing that changed it, which is all mobile and sensor-based data. And as Intel said earlier on, it's a virtuous circle. So people start using mobile devices, it generates information, they start using more mobile devices, which generates more information, and all of that device information needs to be analyzed. So anybody who's got one of those, Fitbits and those kind of things, that's generating every evening 60 years of sleep data. At home, my thermostat is a Nest thermostat. I have Nest fire sensors and carbon dioxide sensors, so if there's a fire in my house, I'll be here talking to you while my house is burning down, but at least I'll know it's burning down, which is always nice. The thermostat is great because I can see what my kids have turned the thermostat up to at home, because they always go around saying it's freezing, so they turn the heating up, and then I come to save money and I turn it back down again. But even my doorbell is connected to the internet, so when my doorbell rings, I can pick up my mobile phone and see who's at the door. So I can say, for protection purposes, I can turn and say, sorry, I'm on a conference call upstairs in my house, when really I could be in the States. It just, everything I have is starting to get connected to the internet, and all of this is creating information. Now, some of our customers are using this kind of stuff, so we have a large consumer electronics firm whose name we're not allowed to say, but they're a fruit-based company, who do watches and something pads and something phones and so on and so forth. But they have millions and millions of users. They're going to have 2 billion users. And this company told us that they only have 2 mission-critical applications in the whole organization. One is their profile store, which we run for them, and the other is their email. Now that's kind of a great place to be when you're dealing with this large fruit-based company, but in addition to that, it's actually kind of a scary place to be, because if anything goes wrong, everybody knows about it very, very quickly. But we have a great relationship with them. They're using us all over, and it's really fun. AOL, it's actually, while I was sitting here today listening to the other speakers, I was delighted because people were talking about things that work really well in this business and things that don't. And one of them is ad targeting. People were saying it's a success for big data and analytics. Well, we do it for AOL, billions and billions of microsecond ad placements. We do it for Criteo in France. We're doing it for a few other companies around the world. An awful lot of the ad-based companies are driven by us. Massive data volumes. PayPal, they're actually speaking, I think, after me, PayPal are. They're a customer of ours. They have a huge amount of data, and they take it all in, process it, use the real-time data with us, and then pass the rest off to Hadoop for batch. And then from an unstructured scenario, TripAdvisor, another really interesting customer of ours, because they're storing everything. They're storing text, video, photographs, audio, and all of it's being stored with us. So one of the things that we built into the product from the very, very start was these core tenets. We call them the 4 pillars of what we do. We have to deliver consistent performance at scale. No matter how big you get with your data, we have to perform consistently. There's no point in being performant on a Monday and being slow on a Tuesday. That doesn't work for eBay, that doesn't work for PayPal, and that doesn't work for Apple. You don't want to be logging into the Apple store and waiting 10 minutes on Monday just to buy Madonna's latest album or whatever. It has to be highly available. It has to be seamlessly scalable and affordable. and it has to have a flexible data model. Now, they're the 4 core tenets of what we do in Couchbase, and everything we do holds to them. So any new feature we add has to enable those features, those 4 pillars for us. So everything we do is late binding. So you can opt in and out of new features in the product so you can maintain these 4 pillars. People like us. But because I'm standing here as a NoSQL vendor or a NoSQL company, I'm not saying relational databases are dead. Actually, the opposite. Relational databases will live forever, pretty much. What Ted Codd did was just amazing in 1970. But we are pushing them to the limits today. And that's why companies came up with Exadata. That's why companies came up with Teradata appliances and all these appliance-based, because they were being pushed to the limit and they had to milk the extra bit of performance out of them. So we're here today to talk about big data and where we fit into it. We see big data as being both operational and analytical, and Hadoop is the analytical piece, and you all know and love the big yellow elephant. From the operational side of things, we see ourselves as the NoSQL real-time feed of operational data into the Hadoop ecosystem, but also the operational analytical side. So if you want real-time analytics, use our NoSQL product, Couchbase. If you want your batch, Couchbase feeds in via our Hadoop connectors to get your batch offline processing for your data scientists to do their deep analytics. A little bit about us as a company. Well, we were 7 people 5 years ago. So when I saw the Cloudera slide earlier on, with Cloudera being 11 people 9 years ago, well, we were 7 years ago, and now we're actually 250 plus employees. It's probably gone up today to 255. When I'm actually recruiting all the time, we are constantly recruiting, looking for really, really good people. We're 100% open source, global presence. We have people in Israel, we have people all over Europe, we have people in Asia Pac, and we have people in the US. We're one of the hottest startups according to CNN. There's a video online which goes into us and talks about how we are one of the hottest startups and really good company to work for. Amazing company culture. And we're seen as visionaries by Gartner. Out of all the NoSQL products out there in the document database world, we have a clear vision of where we want to go. And I'll talk a little bit about that later on. So what do we provide? We actually find that an awful lot of customers start off with us as a highly available cache. So we're a caching solution in memory. So people were talking about memory being the storage layer. That's what we do. People can store their data in a highly available cache that then can persist to disk. People then tend to progress across this arrow over to being a key value store and then a document database. And then we also have a mobile component, which, again, people were talking about machine health and managing machine health. We have some customers who are using our mobile solution to do just that. And then we have our synchronization gateway. So when you talk to us about our solutions, we have 2 main solutions we talk about. We talk about Couchbase Server, which is caching, key value, and document store. And then we talk about Couchbase Mobile, which is a purpose-built database on a mobile device that has a synchronization gateway that will actually allow you to work offline and then automatically synchronize back to a Couchbase database server when you get connectivity. From that regard, then, we feel we have a complete 360 solution. Some of the customers we have are actually very, very interesting. Our fruit-based company again. But people were talking about fraud detection as being one of the success areas of NoSQL. We have FICO as one of our customers. And FICO have a product called Falcon that does real-time fraud detection. And they use us as a preferred platform. And several at Wells Fargo have implemented that. We have customers in the travel and hospitality area. Gaming is a big area for us as well because people want real-time profile management in gaming. And the 2 largest retailers in the world are actually customers of ours. One of them actually suffers very, very big problems on Black Friday. They implemented Couchbase and avoided those problems on Black Friday. Salesforce.com, you all know about. And then we have eBay, LinkedIn, Criteo, AOL, PayPal, a huge amount of companies, and Viber, who are a local company, a huge amount of companies have done their due diligence on the product and found it to be the best NoSQL solution out there. And as a result, are deploying mission-critical applications on it. So some of the use cases we have, I'll breeze through these really quickly because the hardest type of presentation to give is a 20-minute presentation as a keynote. It's easier doing a 1-hour one. So some of the stuff we do is profile management, personalization, 360. IoT is actually becoming very, very big and very important, particularly because of the mobile solution we have. Big time real data, product catalogs for retailers, product catalogs for companies who are online with multiple bill of materials, and automotive companies are very interested in it. Fraud detection and standard content management. So one of those use cases is, it's Apple. I can't say large consumer electronics company anymore. It's the Apple ID store, which currently, last time we checked, had over 800 million users who are constantly accessing. And the solution they went for with us, and one of the big key things was the speed at what they could do for their profile management. But in addition, we have a functionality called cross-data center replication, which means you can have multi-master replicas throughout the globe, spanning thousands and thousands of miles. So when you're in Israel, for instance, and you're based in Dublin, but you want to download Madonna's latest album, your experience is exactly the same as if you were sitting in Dublin connected to the Dublin data center, or you're in New York connected to their local data center there. So no matter where you are, your situation is replicated throughout the globe, and your profile is replicated throughout the globe in real time. Another customer we have doing huge amounts of data is PayPal. So PayPal store millions and millions of data. They ingest it all via Storm from multiple data sources, be it mobile, be it web, or be it any other service they have. They feed that off to Hadoop, but they actually do their real-time analytics on us. So every minute they generate 10 minutes worth of, every 10 minutes they generate 1 minute worth of analytics that they can analyze in real time and see how the business is performing. So how do we provide these solutions? We're a general purpose database, as I said earlier, cache, key value store, document database, and we have local and mobile database on a single platform. These are actually converging closer and closer and closer as part of our roadmap. We are the performance and scalability leader out there. So if you look at any of the benchmarks, any of the honest benchmarks, which are few and far between, you'll actually find that Couchbase is the most performant NoSQL database out there, and it scales. I've been involved in other NoSQL databases before that don't scale. Simplified administration is key to us. It is absolutely critical that pretty much anybody can administer a Couchbase instance. So for instance, scaling a Couchbase instance is incredibly trivial. It's actually like 2 mouse clicks and typing in an IP address, as opposed to if anybody you've ever tried to scale Oracle using real application clusters, it's kind of take a month off work, memorize the Oracle support number, and sit down and tear your hair out. But this is really, really trivial. So trivial that even I could do it, which is actually kind of bizarre. And then always on availability. We used to talk about 5 nines a few years ago. 5 nines doesn't even cut it anymore. You have to have consistent service constantly. Because guess what? People check their bank balance at 3 o'clock in the morning. People buy tickets for concerts at 5 o'clock in the morning. These things are happening. We are, and people in different time zones are accessing services in different countries. It's totally changed the way we do things. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're doing and why Gartner like us and why Gartner think we are one of the innovators in the industry. One of the things we're announcing later on this year, it's summertime. It's actually next month. Sorry, I should explain. In Ireland, we don't have the concept of a summer. So for me to say summertime is kind of alien. But what we're actually announcing is a SQL query language for a NoSQL database. And that's no trivial exercise. Really what we had is, for any of you who've worked with JSON documents, you know that they are mapping complex structures in a nested way, or can model them in a nested fashion. To access that using SQL means you kind of have to flatten it out and be able to index through the document in a more complicated way. It's no trivial exercise, but one of the beautiful things it gives us is a mathematically proven language for NoSQL databases, which has never existed before. So now you can sit, and we all love maths, but you can actually sit and say, I know that this is complete and correct as a way of accessing data. We're giving you JDBC and ODBC drivers, so if you're crazy enough, you can put Microsoft Excel on front of our database. But you can also use business objects or any of those other tools on front of the database, which addresses something a lot of people were talking about, which was getting analysis and getting visualization from the NoSQL and Hadoop world. Now you can get the visualization that the relational folk have been lavishing in for a long time. You'll be able to get that on a NoSQL database. And this is all done in a single install package. It's not that you have to go through any convoluted multi-installs or anything like that. Very, very highly performant and incredibly highly scalable. It's coming in summer, so but it's available now. So if you want to go and have a play with it, you can just go to query.couchbase.com. It's in developer preview 4. We have some customers here in Israel who are actually going to be part of our beta program, which has started. So all of that's now in hand. If you want to play with it, come and talk to us at the booth, and we'll discuss it with you. So really, what you can start doing is do select from where on a NoSQL database, but we've actually extended the SQL language as well to allow for the unnesting of complex arrays and to put limits and stuff like that on it. So we've actually really enhanced the SQL language even further. So in summary, and this is actually something I'd like to address. So, we have the technology, we do performance, we do scalability. We're all about doing things really, really fast, really economically, but incredibly elegantly. Our architecture is very, very elegant when you take a step back and you start looking at how we do things. And as a result of that elegant architecture, which we built into the product from day one, we can do an awful lot of things like putting in a query language, like extending our cross-data center functionality. All of that kind of stuff for enhancements and building the vision of the product is an awful lot easier when you have a very elegant architecture, because we built it from the ground up to be that. And then people were talking about NoSQL being a services and being a services and support-based organization. I came from a perpetual license model into the NoSQL world, and I had difficulty with it at first. And then I sat back and thought about it. Do I really want to buy a perpetual license and then take the risk on support? Because ultimately, the company that sold me the perpetual license has made a huge chunk of change out of me already. And an awful lot of these companies do what we call drive-by selling. So as the sales rep has your check and he's driving out of the car park, he shouts over his shoulder, download it from whatever.com and good luck with support. But we have to provide world-class support because that's all we sell. We have to provide world-class services because that's how we make our revenue. And to me, that's the perfect model. It's like buying the car that will never break down. You really have to provide these services to our people, and that's what we try and do. So we supply, people are choosing us because we have world-class support, because we have world-class services and world-class training. So if you want to find out more, come to our booth and ask us. There's a few of us there today, and you could win a GoPro. We have a GoPro Hero 4. The GoPro Hero 3, which the previous one's provided by MongoDB. We provide the real deal. And don't forget to go to David Ostrowski's presentation later on. Thank you very much.